Let's show the boys your new rock collection.
You have a rock collection? It's a mineral collection.
Coincidence? I think not!
Well, thank you for coming back. It's wonderful to speak to you again.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It's nice to catch up.
Of course. So how have you been doing? It's been, you know, close to a year at this point since we spoke last.
I've been all right. I've been I've dove headfirst into dove? That's a word, right?
Yes.
Dived?
Yes.
I'm at school now. I went to do production engineering course at Abbey Road, which has been very intense, but super informative and a really good experience. But that's kind of been my life. I've been sort of just working on music and honing my skills. It's been good. I'm a bit exammed out because we literally just had, I just did my Pro Tools certification exam at the first part of it, 101, and my first final project. So this long weekend, with it being Easter, has actually been quite the blessing.
When you got in, I saw that you posted that. Congratulations, that was really cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So what has school been like? So did you go to college previously, or is this your first step into like further education?
This is it. I avoided uni like the plague when I was, you know, in my late teens, early 20s, just because I just didn't want to, you know, do it. I thought it just wasn't for me, and I was working anyway, so I just figured I would carry on doing what I was doing. I did start with that. I just felt like I wanted kind of a more like scheduled and like regimented, I suppose, education. I'm the kind of person who needs sort of to be taught. I perform better under pressure than I do at self-motivating, so why not go and learn? And you know, in a place like Abbey Road, you know, I can't think of a better education, really.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way, having like a set schedule, you know, get this done at this point, do this on this day.
Yeah.
That's a lot more helpful.
It definitely helps, for sure. And just to have like the immediate sort of, to be able to just ask a question rather than having to Google for hours to find, you know, information. It's nice to just be able to have tutors to be like, by the way, I was wondering about this.
Yeah. So while you've been at school, you've also been working on your EP that just came out. How was juggling those two?
It was difficult. I mean, thankfully I had already recorded everything that I needed to record for the EP. It was just a case of uploading it and sort of promoting it. But to be honest, the vibe of the EP is very much, you know, Pity Party and Die are on there for a reason, and those songs are getting kind of old now. So I wasn't overly worried about promoting the hell out of Nauseous Ad Nauseam. I just kind of wanted it to exist. But it very much was a project to sort of tie off that kind of Pity Party Die era of my music, because I have a ton of music now that I've recorded. That's kind of not a different vibe, but it's definitely experimenting in other directions.
So you're sort of not leaving the punk atmosphere behind, but you are trying out new things with the next couple songs.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, to be honest, the very next song is about as heavy as you can get, or at least as heavy as I'm gonna get. The heaviest one so far. But then after that, I'm sort of going into a bit of a alt pop kind of world. Although there is another song that's very heavy bass, heavy guitar. But yeah, I just kind of tried writing a bit more hookier and sort of stripping things back a little bit. And I quite like it. I think there's quite a bit of a beauty and simplicity, and you know, it's important to me, I think, as an artist, just to like try lots of different things. I have a very short attention span, when it comes to genre. You know, I finish one thing and I'm like, great, I want to try something new, and then maybe revisit it later.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I feel pretty similarly. Whenever I finish up a project, I'm like, yep, let's not do something like this for a while.
There's no such thing as an original thought.
Stevie's done with dope and gloat. I'm stuffing it in every hole. He grew up and realized that pain was prioritizing. Talk to me about serotonin. Tell me, what's your diagnosis? Or is your sense of self dependent on your favorite famous mess?
How did the music video filming go? Because when we last talked, you were talking about how difficult it is to get that set up sometimes, but it seems like the poser video sort of took a bit of a different route.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just because, I mean, we didn't have a budget. Like, that video was made completely without any money. And so it was just me and my friend Louis, and we sort of went into Reading town centre and just kind of fucked around with some friends. It was fun. It was nice because, like, as you say, I'm so used to making a whole production and, you know, getting us to a location and getting crew in and, you know, setting up lights and doing the whole rigmarole. But, you know, without that as an option, we just kind of turned the camera on and had a bit of fun. And it was nice. It was nice to kind of approach it from a different angle. Though I definitely do miss, you know, as much as I bellyache about producing a music video, I do quite enjoy the process of at least shooting it. And then, you know, the production quality is obviously much better. So I'm hoping next time, you know, next time I do a video, it will be for one of these new songs. And maybe I'll be able to raise a bit of money to make it happen.
What would you say your favorite out of the 3 new songs is?
I don't know. I love them all. I mean, Summertime, that little cover, that was very much a like last minute decision. I keep forgetting it's on there. But that was recorded just at a tiny little local studio a little while back. It's not produced in, you know, by the same people or recorded in the same way as the rest of the songs. That's why it's a bit more lo-fi. So I thought I'll tack the sort of bonus track label on it, so, you know, people don't come with an expectation of it sort of being in the same kind of sonic world as the rest of the EP. That's literally just me playing a ukulele and singing. And I don't really perform, like, I don't really play a lot of the instruments in my songs. I'll usually get, you know, much more skilled musicians in to do it. So I think with Summertime, it was quite nice to have a track on there that I did play on as well, rather than just sing. And I do play the piano in the Curse as well, a little, like, parts of it. I split the responsibility with my friend Colin. But I love them all equal, like, in different ways. Like, Poser is great because it's bratty and, you know, stupid and fun and crazy. And the Curse is sort of my outlet song, you know, singing it live is quite nice. I feel like I'm exercising a lot of demons, and Summertime is just a vibe. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, that's a really long-winded answer. I don't actually have I don't have an answer for you. I like them all.
That's fine. It's like asking you to pick your favorite child kind of thing.
I can't. I'm sorry.
No. I definitely enjoy the whole album, but The Curse is definitely keeps popping up in my shuffle because I've listened to it so much that it's like, you want to keep listening to this.
It is cool. I didn't expect it to be a 5-minute song when I first wrote it, but it ended up being really fucking long. So I like that you do enjoy it despite the length.
Moving on to Dead Island. Can you tell me a little bit about Dead Island for those who may not be aware of it?
Dead Island, I suppose if you've been living under a rock, is it's a zombie game, and it's the sequel. So this is Dead Island 2, and it's the sequel of a much older game that came out. Oh God, I don't even know, like
2011,
over 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
The sequel takes place in Los Angeles, which isn't an island, but whatever. Well, they've announced all of the characters that you get to play in it. I play Amy, who is one of the protagonists that you get to pick.
It's just me, Ames. Chalk one up for Team Living. I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down.
She is an athlete, a Paralympian, because she is only got one leg. So she's got this really cool, like one of those sick, like running blades on, I think it's her right leg. And she just fucks shit up. She's the coolest. I'm so excited. I'm genuinely so excited for this game to come out. I was a huge fan of the first one. And when I got the audition through, again, years ago, I started working on this song. I started working on this game before COVID.
Really?
Yeah. Did a lot of the sessions actually over Zoom. So yeah, it's been a long time coming, and I'm not gonna lie, it was probably the most fun I've ever had doing an acting job. Because also, we got to go in and do some motion capture for it, which was a kind of mini dream of mine. So check that off my bucket list.
No, so you got to do like the, swinging an axe and,
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a first-person game, so it wasn't like a lot of motion capture sessions. It was like 2 days, I think. But there were a couple of cutscenes that they needed a full body shot, and obviously like images of arms moving and some facial stuff. Yeah, it was so fun, and I'm so excited for it to come out. I hope people love it.
Yeah, it definitely seems very, very gory. Very, it sort of reaches the limit.
Yeah. Oh, it certainly doesn't take itself too seriously, which is it's the charm of it, I think. It's a silly game, and it sort of embraces the silliness.
Are you going to be streaming it when it comes out?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I want to play it, so I might as well stream it.
When you pick the characters, does the story play out a little different depending on who you're playing as? Or...
That's a good question that I don't actually know the answer to.
Okay.
I mean, because obviously the only script I've read is the one that Amy is in.
Mm-hmm.
Though I think the dialogue is different.
Yeah.
But storyline aspects, no, I don't think there's really any difference.
Gotcha. So you mentioned that you were a huge fan of the first Dead Island. What are some of your other favorite games?
Ooh, that's a good question. I've probably mentioned Assassin's Creed and Mass Effect to you before, but I mean, most recently, I got the Hogwarts Legacy game off eBay. So some man in Coventry got my money and not J.K. Rowling.
That's what we love to hear.
And I really loved that game. I thought it was great. Because I grew up early 2000s, I was a Harry Potter kid. And so it was nice to kind of relive some of those childhood loves. But games that really stick out, I mean, Skyrim, I loved that game. Fallout, they're both Bethesda, aren't they?
Yes, yeah, they are.
Yeah, no, those are two very cool games. Yeah, I like all kinds. Those are two very, I could make a list.
Now we're going to move on to the audience Q&A section. So those of you listening, I'm sure this is what you've been most excited for. You get to ask your special question. So Rotom Keeper asks, what is your favorite kind of role that you like to play?
I really love kick-assing characters, like characters that can like hold their own in a fight. Though I also really like sort of damage people. Like I like playing well-written, complicated people, especially, you know, well-written, complicated women are, you never see a script with that in it. So when that's done well, or at least honestly, you know, characters that can be ugly, I think that's very cool. I like doing that. I haven't played enough villains in my life, and I really, really want to.
What was your favorite villain to play? Like?
Oh, I have, well, have I? I mean, just like a bitchy, you know, high school girl, but never somebody who's like actually like
antagonist.
Yeah, like I've never played like an actual like evil person.
Gotcha.
I think that would be fun. Yeah, I've just done a lot of victims, and that's kind of, I'm over it. I don't want to do that shit anymore.
Nerwax15 asks, is there any video game series you'd personally want to voice act in? And I guess to build off of that question, is there a specific character that you would want to do?
I've been asked this question a lot, and I always just go back to some of my favorite games, you know, some of the ones I've already mentioned here. I've mentioned Lara Croft a lot. I think that would be very fun. Like one of these sort of horror decision games, like The Quarry, you know, something like that would be very cool. It's cinematic and more motion capture.
Like an Until Dawn style. Like...
Yeah, that would be really cool. Like one of these.
They're kind of like Telltale, I think, is sort of the word everyone uses.
Yeah, like a Telltale horror game. That would be fun.
Jokester asks, did you become friends with any of the other actors that you've worked with?
Yeah. I chat to a lot of the people I used to work with, mostly over social media. I don't often go out for drinks, you know. It's such a weird culture, like, with acting, because a lot of the time you sort of spend months upon end, you know, with a very close-knit group of people, and then as soon as you wrap, like, yeah, you might meet once or twice, you know, after the fact, but you just, you know, life happens and you get other jobs and you meet other people, but I've got so much love, you know, for everybody that I've worked with, you know, and if I saw them in the street, give them a big hug like no time had passed. Especially like the people I worked with when I was a kid, you know, they taught me so much. I value having had them in my life so much.
Aetha asks, what is your favorite recipe to cook or bake?
Oh my god, what is my favorite? Well, I make a mean vegan carbonara. Because me and Sam are both vegan, we try to veganize a lot of stuff, and it's usually a lot of like comfort foods.
Oh.
So carbonara, I might have that for dinner, you know.
Ooh.
I like that. What else?
How long have you been vegan?
Oh god, how many years now? Quite a few. I want to say 29.
Okay.
It happened very naturally. Like I was sort of weaning myself off cheese, I guess. Like over the course of 3 years, I was just trying to eat less and less. Not just for like the sake of the animals, but just for my health, because having CF, dairy actually thickens.
Yeah, thickens the mucus.
Yeah, exactly. It actually aggravates a lot of symptoms. So it was a good idea for me to come off dairy for lots of reasons. And then eggs, I just never really cared much about them. So, but yeah, I make a good carbonara. I make a really nice saffron pasta. Very, very simple recipe. It's literally just shallots, vegetable stock, saffron, and you creme fraiche and butter. And I use this sort of pappardelle, like ribbon pasta. And it's amazing. You don't even get a colander dirty for it because you can just like make it all in the pan and like the water soaks it up. Oh, it's brilliant.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, those are probably my top two, both pasta dishes.
Do you speak any other languages?
Ooh, God, I wish. I used to be fairly...
Sorry, Polygloom.
Oh yeah, who did it?
Polygloom asks, do you speak any other languages?
Polygloom. I used to be fairly decent at French, but I just haven't practiced in a really long time. It's terrible, really, you know. English speakers, we're so arrogant. You know, the friends that I have where English isn't their first language, but their English is perfect. I'm so jealous of them. Because I think, oh my goodness, like, to have two languages in your head, and in some cases even more than that, I just think it's incredible. Sam's pretty good at languages. I think he's fairly good at Polish and pretty good at Italian. He's just very fascinated by it.
No, so he goes out of his way to like learn other languages.
Yeah. He did Japanese for a little while as well. He gets very hyper focused on a specific thing, and he'll just like slam it for weeks and then, you know, never look at it again. So, though he also retains information very well, so I feel like if you asked him to like have a conversation in Polish, he'd be able to muddle through it.
Bless You asks, I love all the different outfits in your music videos. Do they come from your own wardrobe? And is there anything that inspires your fashion sense?
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, they're all my clothes. What inspires my fashion sense? I don't know. I feel like I look like a mess half the time. So I guess I get a lot of my inspiration, you know, a lot of my heroes in music are from the alt rock world. I mean, I think Hayley Williams, I love her, but she definitely makes interesting fashion choices, especially these days. I would say maybe Hayley Williams. Probably taking inspiration from all of the stoner rock scene, like Blind Melon, grunge scene, like my sisters actually. I have two sisters and I remember thinking they just had the coolest style growing up. My mum actually as well, she was a punk back in the 70s and 80s. I have a friend called Hermione, and she, you know, would wear these like really cool earrings and, you know, really interesting trousers. And I got more interested in what a look could be, I think, when I met my friend Hermione. Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I've never really thought about it.
You just kind of put on whatever feels right for the video.
Yeah, whatever feels right. I love statement trousers. I love bright colors. I like rips and patterns, like clashing patterns.
Great Life 10 asks, what is the funniest thing you've ever witnessed in your career?
What is the funniest thing? One very funny thing was my dad was an extra in a horror movie I did when I was a kid. It was a sort of mini dream of his to play a zombie in something. And I did a zombie movie called Dark Floors when I was like, God, 12 or something. It was a Finnish production. There was a band, I don't know if you've heard of them, called Lordi. They're a heavy metal like monster band, and I mean monster because they like dress up as monsters when they perform.
Oh.
They're a great band, and they did a horror movie after that. They won the Eurovision Song Contest, I guess in like 2005 or something.
So they directed a movie?
They would have, I guess, produced it, and they hired a director called Pete Risky, who I do still speak to even now. And it was one of the best shoots of like, I was, you know, if you're a little 12-year-old and you're sort of scooting around in a horror movie set and you're just surrounded by monsters and special effects, it is the coolest. And and one of the highlights of that shoot for me was my dad got all kitted up and turned into a zombie by the makeup department. And they just set him in a scene. And even he didn't do anything. He was like a dead body, like pressed up against a wall. But he had the best time. And the pictures from that day are really great. And yeah, very funny.
So he didn't like try coming at you. He was just like he just laid there.
No, they didn't give him anything to do. He just laid there on the ground. But he had a lot of fun, like, in between takes, you know, pretending to be a zombie, like, scaring me.
Morag Morardane asks, what are the biggest pros and cons of working in a creative career?
Oh, what a question. I love this question. The pros are infinite, and the cons are many. The pros are... Well, I'll start with... The cons are... you're broke, you know, all the time until you really hit your stride. You feel a lot of doubt, self-doubt, and frustration. You get rejected pretty much on every job you get, and the luck that you experience, or at least the bad luck far exceeds the good luck, which is a tough thing to wrap your head around, especially if you've done it for as long as I have. But the pros are, I feel like I'm living truthfully and passionately and completely, even with all of the cons. I wake up every day and I do something that I love. The highs are very high and the lows are very low, and I guess it takes a strong spine and a thick skin to do it, which you don't always have. But I wouldn't change it. I don't think. I think I'd feel worse if I wasn't doing it. Thank you for the question.
That was the last
Cool.
Q&A question. What should we expect to see from you in the future?
More music. I will be streaming. I will be doing more gigs. And I'm thinking, like, because I've taken a bit of a step away from acting for the time being, just while I'm studying. But I do definitely intend on going back as soon as I have my graduation.
When's that set to happen?
So it'll be next February, probably.
Wow. So where can the people find you? What's the best way to get Skye Bennett news?
Well, the best, I'm most active on my music Instagram, which is at Deva St. John, which is DEVASTJOHN. I'm also on Twitter. My handle is SDSJB, Skye Deva St. John Bennett, but just the first letters.
Well, it was nice talking to you. I'm sure.
Yeah, nice talking to you as well.
Yeah,
Thanks so much for doing this.
No, it's always fun. I'm excited to see everyone's reception on Dead Island 2 coming out April 21st.
Oh yeah.
2 weeks. That's from the day of recording this. It is 2 weeks from now.
Wow, that's gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
Sam is so excited because he was a huge fan of the game as well. He's been buzzing. He's like, 2 weeks. Oh my god.
Well, I can play as you in the game.
Yeah.
I can kill zombies as you.
Oh my god, how weird.
Again, thank you so much for coming. And if you guys enjoyed this interview, I also did another video with Skye. It will be somewhere on the screen. I don't have a camera, so I can't point at it, but it will be on the screen somewhere, and you can click on it and go watch that because it was very fun to make.
Yeah, fun for me as well.
Yeah, no, we had a great time doing that. All right, well, goodbye, everybody. I don't know how to...
So long.
Bye.
Have a nice day.